Right next to the news, we have our own scoop. WIDR Kalamazoo. Right next to the news, we have our own scoop. WIDR Kalamazoo. Right next to the news, we have our own scoop. WIDR Kalamazoo.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of the Western News Review. It's always a pleasure to come your way with stories that made the news with the Western Herald as far as Western Michigan University is concerned and the Kalamazoo locality. My name is Daniel Ebo. Today I've been joined by two amazing people. I have with me Nicole Morehouse, the lead news reporter for the Western Herald, and we have a new face today in the person of Madison Mckenzie. She is in charge of photography at the Western Herald. I'll let her tell us a bit more about what she does there, because I think it will be interesting. I love photography so much, and I love the visuals I see on the Western Herald website. So, Madison, you want to briefly tell us, how's your job like?
Yeah, so I started at the Herald like a year ago, and I was just on staff and just going to events and taking photos. It was a really good way to get involved and see what was actually happening in campus and kind of get a taste of everything, going to all kinds of different events. And then it came around December, the position opened up for the photo editor, and I took over. And I have my assistant photo editor who does a great job too, and a team of people who go to events and take great photos. And so it's been really a wild ride to take over the position, but it's been fun, and it's really nice to kind of get a sprinkle and see like not only everything that everybody does at the Herald, but beyond that, like what's happening in the school and in the community. So, yeah, I have a really interesting job.
Were you already into photography before you joined them? Did you know how to, do you know your way around, the camera before you joined Western Herald, or you learned on the job?
Yeah, so I've been taking photos since I was 15, and I am in the fine arts school, and I've taken 2 or 3 photo classes in the art department. So I've been taking photos for a while, and it's just something I love to do.
Oh, interesting to note. I'll probably take lessons from you then, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So, like I said, I love the visuals I see on your website, and I think you're doing an amazing job. So, great to have you today to contribute to the discussion that we're going to have. Today, we're looking at 3 main issues. First, they're not issues in the sense that they are problems, but issues in the sense that they are topics and news articles that have featured on the website. We're looking at a new minor that has been introduced in the School of Communication here at Western, and we also look at a story about the Board of Trustees purchasing some aircrafts for the School of Aviation. And then finally, we will look at a moment of magic, a group that is doing amazing work as far as children hospitals are concerned. And Madison will tell us more about that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But Nicole, again, good to have you. How's your week?
Pretty good. I'm pretty busy, but
good.
Going.
Class is going well?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's get into the discussions now. We'll begin off with the new minor that's been introduced in the School of Communication, and I'll quickly give you excerpts of that story. This story was published on 22nd of March, 2023, and was written by Corey Osterman, the news editor. Today she couldn't join us, unfortunately, but hopefully we will have her here next week. Essentially, the story is headline, New Minor Introduced to School of Communication, and it goes on to talk about Western Michigan University adding a new minor program that is called User Experience, or UX for short. And it also includes human-computer interactions, which is HCI, for students who want to gain skills needed to succeed in the field of UX design and HCI. It seems all a bit technical, but essentially it's computer stuff, right? So if you're a student already majoring in the School of Communication, you're allowed to join this minor. And even though it's also part of the School of Communication, and it's an 18 credits requirement with no prerequisites. So you can definitely want to join that. And this, I believe, will go a long way to help when it comes to, job search, for instance. I'm looking at giving people the competitive advantage in the job market, because what sets you apart from any other person that's studied communication will be some of these skills that you have in terms of human-computer interactions, for instance. If you know your way around that, the design, the UX design and all of that, I think this is going to go a long way to help students in the job search. What do you think? Want to jump in? Nicole, yeah.
Yeah, well, as everything is growing more and more digital, it's more important that companies have products, services, apps, websites, everything that is very user-friendly and easy to use. You're able to do more and more from your phone, so having this kind of experience can be very helpful in searching for jobs and being able to provide that knowledge and service of making things easier for consumers.
Sure. And if you want to join this, fortunately, I'm in the School of Communication. I'm doing my master's in the School of Communication, and so I know the professors in charge of this, Professor Chad Edwards, and then Brian Abinshan, who happens to be my immediate supervisor. I work with him as a TA, and very amazing individuals. I'm sure you enjoy this class or this minor if you decide to take it. So if you're doing the listening out there, you want to make sure that, and you're in the School of Communication, this is an opportunity for you to, if you have any questions at all, reach out to Chad Edwards, Professor, and then Professor Otome Edwards as well, and then Brian Abinshan via their university emails, and then they're going to respond to you. But there's also a link on the Western Herald website that links you to a web page where you can find more information there. So look for the story on westernherald.com, and then if you're interested, you can find more on the link provided, highlighted as web page, to learn more or declare. Great stuff. All right, back from the nerdy stuff, let's look at some more interesting stories, and I'll come to Nicole to tell me a bit more about what's happening in the School of Aviation. I understand some aircraft stuff.
Yeah, yesterday, Western's Board of Trustees approved a $20 million loan to buy 32 new aircraft for the School of Aviation.
And what's the significance of this? How important is this for the school, and not just for the School of Aviation, but for Western in general?
Yeah, it's pretty important. Western is highly ranked for their School of Aviation. Flying Magazine lists it as the number 2 ranked school in the entire country, and Raymond Thompson, the dean of WMU's Campus of Aviation, said that, a few years ago when Western purchased their current fleet of Cirrus aircraft, that really boosted them to be like a top-ranked School of Aviation. So now bringing in these 32 new aircraft with the latest technology will even just take them to the next step of. And
they might, take the first position. Now they are second, right? So they might take the first spots nationwide.
They aren't necessarily second in the nation. They listed several universities that were all number 2 ranked. With, I think it was the University of Oklahoma was number 1, and there was 6 or 7 ranked, number 2 ranked.
No, I have faith that we can we can overtake University of Oklahoma. That's interesting to note. And the other thing is that so you said 27 aircrafts?
It was 28 that they have currently, and they're now purchasing 32.
Wow. That's a lot. So I'm looking at the cost involved in this, because you don't just buy aircrafts like that, and that's 32. It's a lot. So how do they intend to fund this? Do we know?
Well, the process will take several years, starting in 2024. But the Board of Trustees just approved $20 million to go toward this purchase. But the School of Aviation doesn't expect that it'll actually cost the university $20 million, since they will be selling
less.
Yeah. Well, they'll be selling the current fleet of 28 aircraft, so the money that they gain from that will go toward purchasing the 32. So new funds should be less.
If I understand correctly, so they have 27 or 28 now, and they're going to sell that for new 32. I thought they were adding the 32 to the 28. So they're selling the old ones. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're replacing the old fleet for this new one.
Oh, Interesting. So at least I guess the new ones are going to be far advanced than the old ones. That's why they're going to sell them. That's good to know. In terms of enrollment, do we see this boosting enrollment in the School of Aviation? Because I mean, if you ask me, with more people knowing that you have the necessary equipment to want to run a program like that, I'm sure it will attract a lot of students who want to join the program. Because yeah, go ahead.
It will definitely enhance the training and help students be better equipped for a a job that is, there's a high demand for pilots right now, and there's a huge gap between like the supply and the demand. So it'll definitely enhance that training to be able to send students well equipped into the workforce for that.
That's great. My roommate is, studies aviation as well, and so I can understand the point of view that you raise in terms of equipping students with the necessary skills, because it's more practical than it is theoretical. So if you don't have the necessary equipment that you need for training, then it means that your education it's a waste of time, if you want. But thankfully, it's not going to be here at Western, because we have all these amazing stuff coming up. Awesome. Madison, you've been quiet for some time now. Let's get to you and look at what you have for us. So I understand a moment of magic. So the story says a moment of magic brings fairy tales to life at children's hospitals. First of all, who are they?
So, A Moment of Magic is a nonprofit organization that pairs children who are affected with medical vulnerabilities with their favorite princess and superhero, and sort of creates this magical experience for them.
Who's your favorite superhero or princess? Do you have one?
My favorite princess is Aurora.
Oh.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty.
Don't hear that one much.
And Nicole?
Oh, I don't know. I'm told I look like Merida a lot. I think it's the hair.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to say mine because I don't have one. But that's interesting stuff. Tell us more about what they do and how important it is, especially for these kids.
Yeah, so especially during the pandemic, their job was kind of hard because they had to do like drive-by meet and greets rather than like seeing them in it, like being able to physically go to the hospitals because everything was pretty closed. So for them to be able to get back in person and actually meet with them is more like even better experience for the kids. And I think that what they do is just spread pure joy. And that's something that, with today's day and age, having a lot going on, and then even having like a medical vulnerability, like it really, it's magical.
And that's the exact word, a moment of magic. It's magical. I agree with you on that. And I can understand also how COVID may have affected this, because this is not something you do over the internet. I mean, you might do it, but I'm not sure you'll have the same feeling as when you actually go visit these children and then they see these people that they so much adore come to their doorstep, rather than, do it over Zoom or on the internet or via video conference. And I don't think it has the same. So I'm happy to, know that now they've returned to in-person activities and then they are going to visit all these children. But how do you see this affecting the children? How do you see this improving their experiences, especially given that they are children suffering from medical vulnerabilities and all that?
Yeah, I think whenever, you're suffering with something hard, it's hard to see like the light at the end of the tunnel. But, every once in a while, there's something that makes you really happy. And I think that that's part of what they do that's going to affect them long term, is like that's going to be the thing that keeps them happy and makes them, heal internally, is like through the joy and just like being a positive influence.
Thank you so much. That's very profound. So I'm glad to know about what they are doing. It's the first time I'm hearing about them. Their initials, I think, is AM, AMOM, AM. OM, right? Moment of Magic.
AMOM.
Okay, so interesting stuff that they're doing, and kudos to them. We hope that they don't face any more challenge like the pandemic that restricts the kind of work that they do, and so that they're able to help these children going forward. Nicole, you want to say something?
I mean, yeah, I just agree with you guys. It's a very important thing to do, that they were definitely restricted by the pandemic. The story even highlights a story of one child that they visited, and when they saw her after not seeing them for a long time, she like ran across the parking lot to like meet them, and very heartwarming story there to see that. So
that's beautiful. All right, so we've looked at the new minor introduced at the School of Communication. Make sure you want to sign up for that. It's very important because it's good for the job market. It equips you with some on-the-job skills. And you also want to look at the fleet of aircraft that we have in the pipeline for the School of Aviation. 32 of those, can you imagine? Right, so good stuff. And of course, we just spoke about a moment of magic. Today I've been joined by Madison Mckenzie, and she is the photo editor at the Western Herald. Great visuals. I really love it. I can't stop mentioning it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us today. And of course, our regular Nicole Morehouse is here. She's the news editor, not the news editor. I always confuse that. The lead news reporter at the Western Herald. My name has been Daniel, and the producer for this has been Ryan Misiak. This has been the Western News Review, bringing you highlights of stories that you may have missed with the Western Herald. We'll catch you same time next week with some more important and interesting stuff. Thank you. Be safe. Bye-bye.